Hi everyone, this is Diana Palm from DianaPalm.com. Today we're going to be discussing the top 5 ways that you can actually hear the voice of your departed loved one in the afterlife. Stay tuned. Hearing the voice of your departed loved one is a form of after-death communication. Many people first hear a ringing in their ears when their clairaudient abilities are opening up. Now, clairaudience is an act of clear hearing from the spirit world. It simply means that your psychic abilities are opening up. Maybe you have clear sight, clear sensing, but clairaudient is about clear hearing. And it is possible for you to actually hear the voice of your departed loved ones. If you've lost somebody close to you and you begin to have ringing in the ears, this may be a way that they're trying to communicate. Our ears do not perceive the vibration and frequency that spirits talk in. It's much like a dog whistle. It can be blown right next to you, but the human ears don't hear it. So when a loved one is coming close to you to talk to you, you may only be perceiving a ringing in the ears. Ringing in the ears can also be caused from different kinds of health issues going on, but an easy way for you to discern if this is a true spirit communication is for you to simply close your eyes and tune in to that ringing and sit there for a moment and see if you actually get any types of images, impressions, emotions, or mental clarification whether or not your loved one is speaking to you. This is just a process of allowing, and that brings us to mentally hearing your loved one. When you're mentally hearing your loved one, it's almost as if voices or ideas or thoughts are put into your mind, and this is pretty common for you to perceive what your loved one would be saying to you, thinking or feeling in a certain circumstance. So when you're hearing the ringing, simply tune in and allow your clairaudient abilities to perceive and pick up on the mental messages that your loved one is trying to relay to you. Many times you're more receptive to actually hearing the voice of your loved one within your dreams and right as you're waking up from a dream. Because at this time your brain is still in the theta brainwave, you're much more receptive and tuned into your environment, and you have no filters or blocks going in your mind. So a lot of times your loved ones will actually say your name right when you're waking up. And if you hear this, don't be startled by it. It's just your loved one letting you know that they're around you and that they're still connected to you and watching over you. It is also possible to actually hear a disembodied voice. A disembodied voice is different than hearing a voice clairaudiently because you're actually hearing it with your physical ears. A disembodied voice is actually carried to you without having the physical apparition of your loved one. It's a voice that comes through to you that you can hear very clearly, very audibly, without a question, and it will have the same voice, tone, and inflection that your loved one had. Any messages that you hear with your physical ears is going to be considered a disembodied voice. If you have never heard the voice of your loved ones trying to communicate to you from the spirit world, I've got some tips that are really, really helpful to help you expand your abilities, your psychic hearing, and your ability to tune in and actually capture their voice on devices that will help you to hear them and be able to communicate better. Hearing a disembodied voice is less common simply because most humans tune out that vibration and frequency. However, if you're really tuned in, you certainly can hear the physical voice of your loved one in spirit when they're trying to communicate to you. One of my recommendations is to sit quietly in a room with white noise. Spirits can communicate through white noise because they're able to utilize the frequencies that are available in the environment, and it's easier for them to get their words through and to help you hear them. One of the ways that I like to listen to white noise may just be to sit next to a body of water like the ocean and hearing the natural sounds of nature running in the background. They also have white noise audio tapes that you could listen to online and just tune into those, meditate, just close your eyes and relax your mind and allow the white noise to fill the room. Oftentimes in this state, you actually will hear your loved ones in spirit speaking to you. Because so many people don't have their spiritual hearing developed, one of the other things that I recommend is to also do your meditation, sit in a room filled with white noise or in silence, and have a digital tape recorder running beside you. Now you can use the old-fashioned cassette tape if that's all you have, but digital recorders and even the recorder on your phone will work for this. And all you do is simply be open and perceptive. Maybe ask a question. You could call your loved one by name and just ask, are you here with me? Do you have a message for me? And allow the tape recorder to run for 30 seconds to a minute. You will not be able to hear anything during this time, but when you stop the recording and rewind it, listen very, very, very carefully, because often what you will get is a tape recorded voice of your loved one. This is called an EVP. Many times you will not be able to hear their spirit voice because of the frequency and vibration, but the tape recorder is actually able to capture this. That's why when you play it on playback, you can hear it because it's on the recording. Now, it's really, really common to capture your loved ones speaking to you in this manner, and it's an authentic form of after-death communication, especially when you can detect that the loved one's voice is authentic and it's relative to any questions that you asked. The other technique that I would recommend is using the device called the Spirit Box. There are many different forms of it. I personally use the SB7 Spirit Box. It's one of my all-time favorite devices ever used. And it's much like the spirit telephone that Thomas Edison was inventing before he passed. It sends out enough frequencies and white noise and energy into the environment as it scans radio stations very, very, very quickly. And one of the things that spirits can do is tap into that and speak through the noise, speak through the frequencies that the radio stations are emitting. So when you're using a spirit box, it's very important to have discernment. There will probably be many voices that you hear, but because a spirit box changes stations so rapidly, when you actually hear a full word, words put together, or even a full sentence, you know for sure that this is a loved one in spirit communicating to you. There may be other spirits around in the environment, and so you could hear a few things that don't really make sense or they're not relative to you. Don't worry about that. When your loved one is communicating to you, the information will be relatable to what you ask them. They will also speak in their voice and their inflection. And if you ask them a question, they'll be able to give you the right answer. If you're using a device like the Spirit Box, don't get concerned with any of the random spirits that may be talking in your proximity, because their voices may also be heard. But do know that you can use this device to tap in, connect with, and communicate with your loved one in spirit. It's a wonderful device to help you be able to hear your loved one. Your loved one always wants to let you know that they're around and that they're okay. Ringing in the ears is definitely the most common way to begin hearing your departed loved ones. The next most common would be hearing your voice in a dream or as you're coming out of a dream and you're just about to wake up. The third most common would be psychic hearing, where you just feel that you're hearing their voice speaking to you, or maybe answering the questions that you're thinking in your mind. And they're able to do this very easily because they're usually standing right beside you, impressing their thoughts and answering your questions that you so long to hear. The least common is the actual disembodied voice, where you just hear their voice in your natural environment with your physical ears. But you can always develop all your abilities for psychic hearing by listening to white noise, using a tape recorder, or implementing the Spirit Box. Have you ever heard the voice of your departed loved one? I would actually love to hear all about it. I've had these experiences and I love them. I know that all these techniques work. I've heard disembodied voices. I've been talked to in my dreams. I've had their thoughts and impressions. I've had EVPs and Spirit Box communications. Once you start down that road of after-death communication, all kinds of your clairaudient abilities and psychic abilities will open up. I hope you found this video very helpful. If you did, give it a like, make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell so that you're notified every single Thursday when I upload a new video. And if you would like to hear more information like this, check out my full playlist on after-death communication. Thanks so much for being here, everyone. Have a great day.